the 7 and 7. Oh, that's wrong. I did something wrong there. Hey everybody, welcome back to Drinks and a Movie. Chris Hamker back with you. Today I'll be talking about The Accountant, and as you saw just a second ago, I just tried to make the drink the 7 and 7. Now, I made it wrong. It's fine, I admit it. The 7 and 7 is 6 ounces of 7-Up, 1 ounce of bourbon or whiskey, and into a glass of ice. So let's do, and I'll measure it out equally or specifically, because that's how Ben Affleck would have done it in The Accountant, because he's very specific. 6 ounces of 7-Up and 1 ounce of whiskey. And that's the 7 and 7. All right, let's get to the, or let's try this. We'll shake it up a bit. Okay, so The Accountant is directed by Gavin O'Connor and written by Bill Dubuque and stars Ben Affleck, J.K. Simmons, and Anna Kendrick, and is about an accountant. Now, it's kind of hard to describe what this movie is about without getting into heavy spoiler territory. What I will say is The Accountant is about a high-functioning autistic who is very good with numbers, so he becomes an accountant, and he ends up, because he's so good at this, he ends up cooking the books for high-profile gangsters, drug dealers, and terrorists, and just dictators, unsavory characters all over the world. He's also a trained killer, but surprisingly, these two things are not connected. Now, what I mean by that is that he's not a trained killer because he works with all these dangerous characters. He's a trained killer because his father, early on in life, thought he should be able to handle himself, because normal people find people that are different than them scary, and he wanted him to be able to defend himself. Now, what I liked about The Accountant is that the fact that Ben Affleck's character is autistic, although important to the story, is not the driving force of the story. He's good with numbers because of his autism, but he's not good at defending himself because of his autism. He's good at that because of his father, because his father started him at this training at a very early age. They didn't give him some kind of special powers because he's autistic to make him a ruthless killer. And I'm really glad they were doing that. I was afraid the filmmakers were going to go that route, and they didn't. That was a nice, pleasant surprise for me. Now, all the actors are great in this movie, Affleck in particular. I mean, he plays this quiet, reserved, and focused character, and you could see these little moments of wanting to connect with another human being and be sociable, but he just doesn't know how. And all the other actors are great too, but they kind of play similar archetypes of other characters that they've played before. J.K. Simmons played the hard-nosed mentor type. Anna Kendrick is quirky, adorable love interest, and Jon Bernthal plays this charismatic but menacing mercenary. And I don't mind this. These actors are great at doing what they do, but this is definitely Affleck's movie, and he is wonderful in this. I mean, really fantastic. The action was also very great in this movie. Affleck's character was quick, methodical, and did not hesitate. It reminded me a lot of the John Wick character. I mean, he just plows through people, and it is very entertaining and really easy to follow. I mean, that's the problem with a lot of action sequences nowadays. They have a lot of that shaky cam going on, and this doesn't. This is very clean, and you can tell Affleck's doing a lot of his own stuff, and which I really appreciate. But like I said, it reminded me a lot of John Wick, and that's not the only movie this this movie, kind of borrows from. Grosse Point Blank, for example, there are a couple of conversations that Affleck has with one person who knows what he does, knows he's a killer, and knows he's an accountant for these bad people, and she's kind of this disembodied secretary voice like there was in Grosse Point Blank. There's also a beautiful mind moment where Affleck's character is trying to solve an accounting problem of this big corporation, and he's writing on glass, and there's music behind it. It's a bit of a montage, and it's very reminiscent of that. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this. I'm just saying it's kind of noticeable. And there's also a crazy stupid love moment, which brings me to the bits I did not like in this movie. Now, at the start of the third act, without spoiling anything, J.K. Simmons' character describes what's going on to his second-in-command. And in this little vignette, this little montage, there are so many coincidental connections that it just becomes stupid. And what's worse, it doesn't even fuel the plot any. There's also this subplot with his second-in-command that has really nothing to do with the story. Now, I have an idea. How about you just, and this is just spitballing here, let them do their jobs. Both of them work for the Treasury Department and the FBI. Why not? Why not just have them, investigating this guy instead of trying to make up this, crazy elaborate connective stream between all the characters that doesn't make sense or is just so coincidental it would never happen. You don't need to make up these pointless connections. I was totally on board with this movie, 100% until the start of the third act. All in all, I did like this movie, and I think it's worth checking out. It had fun, visceral action sequences, and Ben Affleck's acting is really good, really solid. And I don't think he's really known as much as much for his acting as he should be. I think he's really good in this. Look, I'm going to just give this movie a solid 3.5 drinks out of 5. I was going to go 4.5 into those silly connections at the end, which you guys may not have a problem with. Let me know. Let me know what you think of the accountant if you see it. Anyway, thanks so much everybody for joining me. I appreciate it. If you like this, like, share, and subscribe down here at the bottom. Have a drink on me. Cheers, everybody.